protein bar. In 1992, Dr. Anthony Almeida and a businessman named Ed Bird had discovered the possibility of creatine monohydrate being useful to athletes. So they started a company called EAS in 1992. Actually, that meant Ed, Anthony, and Sally. And Sally was the secretary. That's where the EAS originally came from. That was in 1992. Okay, 1992 is the same year that I opened my gym. And in 1993, Chad Coy, who was a salesman from Palco Distributing in Indiana, came to my gym in Pekin, Illinois, and introduced me to this phosphagen, this creatine monohydrate. And that's when I started using it. So I was one of the first gyms to actually use it, and I found it to be just as powerful as far as powerlifting is concerned. Produced the same results as testosterone, the DECA, things like that, the steroids. So at that point, steroids became passé for us. So the creatine monohydrate, branded phosphagen, was very popular, but it was very hard for the old timers to accept, because we had been lied to so many times over the years about steroid replacements. This supplement's going to replace steroids, and it never happened. But this time it was for real. So I found it very hard for me to get the old timers to accept it, but eventually they did, and they ended up being years behind. But now, today we see many different forms of creatine on the market. And what is the reason for that? Creatine monohydrate became so popular that they sold so much of it, manufactured so much of it. You know, the more you manufacture anything, the cheaper it becomes. So they weren't really making a lot of money on it, so they came out with these other forms. And these other forms didn't work, and I'm going to touch on why they don't work. Creatine monohydrate works by drawing water inside the muscle cell, okay? It's called cell volumizing. It's your muscle cells are like little balloons filled with water, okay? So this is what causes muscle torque, and muscle torque is what causes the increase in strength. So water retention, on the other hand, is occurring outside the muscle cell, so that's worthless. So now these new manufacturers of these various forms of creatine say, our creatine doesn't cause any bloating. Well, that bloating is the cell volumizing, and that's why it works. So that's just a scam statement for a scam product, okay? And of course, you know, it's because they make much more money with these other products. So beware of that, okay? Anytime you're dealing with a drug or a supplement, you're dealing with what we call effective dose. The effective dose is where the amount of that drug or the amount of that supplement that actually gives you the results. It actually creates an effect, a desired effect. So the effective dose of creatine monohydrate is 10 grams. We split that up, 5 grams in the morning, 5 grams at night. Anything less than that, you know, you see these products where they add creatine and they'll say 500 milligrams of creatine. Well, that's totally worthless, okay? They're just ripping people off. That's nothing new, okay? Now, the other thing that you got to look out for is when they tell you to load the creatine monohydrate 5 to 7 servings a day. I've never loaded that in my life. I've had tremendous results. I don't go a day without it, and I just found that was probably a way for them to make more money, sell more product. Now, where does creatine monohydrate come from? It comes from red meat, and if you eat 2.2 pounds of steak, you're going to get 5 grams of creatine. So you're going to have to eat basically 5 pounds of steak to get the effective dose every day of creatine monohydrate, and that's not realistic. Now the old timers used to eat red meat in prodigious amounts to gain strength, and it worked, but they didn't know why it worked. They didn't know anything about creatine monohydrate. Now, if you're thinking that they derive this creatine powder that you buy in the store from red meat, you're wrong, because it wouldn't be economically feasible, right? You're spending how much money on 2.2 pounds of steak to extract 5 grams of creatine. So how is it made? Okay, it's synthetic. We'll take a look at that. Synthetic creatine is sarcosine and cyanamide combined in a reactor with some other catalyst compounds. The reactor is heated and pressurized, and it forms crystals of creatine, okay, crystalline creatine. And that is spun around in a centrifuge to extract all the waste materials, and then it's vacuum dried, and then it's milled into a fine powder. As I've already stated, creatine monohydrate fills the cells with water. It draws water inside the cells. So when you're using creatine monohydrate, you want to make sure you drink enough water. You're going to have to drink more water than you would normally. So that's going to be on a daily basis, year after year. You don't ever have to go off of this stuff. It doesn't do any harm to your body, your kidneys, or your liver. Now, what's unusual about this product is that it works so fast. I've found that it works within about 5 days. You know, steroids take a couple weeks, but this is amazing. It gets inside the muscle cell. It brings water, draws water inside the muscle cell, and gives you that muscle torque within 5 days. You have to be really careful where you buy creatine monohydrate, because the Chinese are flooding the market with just a cheap form of creatine monohydrate that doesn't work, okay? So you want to either go with phosphagen, but you're going to have a hard time finding it on the shelf. You're probably going to have to order it over the internet, like bodybuilding.com does sell it. Or you can use Creapure from Germany, from a company called Alzchem, that is sold in the United States under various labels. Now, I use Optimum Nutrition brand of creatine, which is Creapure. You can see the little Creapure logo on the back. So always look for that Creapure logo.